What if people had a battery level icon? Like on your phone? You'd see a lot of us in need of a recharge. Thank goodness there's 5-Hour Energy. Because just one sugar-free, vitamin-packed 5-Hour Energy shot can get you all the way back to 100% fast. And isn't life better at 100%? 5-Hour Energy. Get back to 100%. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach K. Stevenson here on this Monday afternoon. Now, we appreciate everybody joining us on the show. Remember, our studio line's 850-623-1330. Listen, I know that this is a weekend, again, that, without sports. It's a little bit different. We're having to get creative. We're seeing games from the past. Sports is such a small part of what's going on right now, Coach. And, first things first, Coach, I want to ask, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. Good to be with you.
Absolutely. And, Coach, as always, we've talked about this before. It's so important just for everyone to do their part, stay safe, wash your hands. And remember, we here at ESPN Pensacola and all over the place here in Pensacola area and all over the world, really, we want to thank our first responders and healthcare workers, as we know they're working tirelessly in a time like this. But, Coach, we're here talking some football with people, maybe a way out, almost a release for some people here. There is so much to talk about today, Coach.
Always is. With the game of football, especially now that it's basically year-round, there's always just there's a ton of things going on each and every day. And now with personnel, well, even colleges, what are they going to do about spring? Some colleges are going to be okay, and some are going to suffer. They're going to suffer tremendously. So we got a lot to talk about, and certainly on the pro front, a multitude of things, including getting closer to the draft. So we're going to have to start taking a look at some of these mock drafts and what may or may not be correct with them.
Absolutely, Coach. One thing I want to go ahead and talk about here, a lot of Saints fans in this area. Well, the Saints added Emmanuel Sanders to their lineup, only continuing to bolster the NFC South. For a veteran receiver like Emmanuel Sanders, look, this is going to be interesting, Coach. Now, my question here, when we see the Saints, now we knew the offense was good. They had Michael Thomas. We talked about this before, but what move were they going to make with everybody else making moves out here? Is Emmanuel Sanders, can he be the guy opposite of a guy like Michael Thomas? And you still have Traquan Smith there, the good young receiver, to kind of set New Orleans back toward that Tampa Bay level, because these are two teams it seems like are battling right now.
Well, it's a great question, and when you look at, I think Sanders is going to help. I think what may be a bigger help would be an appropriate draft choice. But nevertheless, if they had a chance to get Sanders, it's not if you're comparing with Tampa, that's not going to put New Orleans, I don't think, on a par with the depth of the Tampa Bay receiving corps. They have Mike Thomas, who's just one of the best to ever play the game. I mean, it's amazing what he does. But, of course, a lot of that you have to attribute to Drew Brees. But Mike Thomas, my goodness, how can you continue to catch that many passes when people double and triple cover him? It's just amazing. I give him all the credit in the world. but you can't continue to be at the upper echelon of the NFL with one valid receiver. You got to have another. So I think Sanders, to answer your question in a roundabout way, I think Sanders is a help over what they have right now, and they could end up with more. They could end up with a very good contributor out of the draft. So Saints are on the right path. They know what they got to do. They're shy in the receiving department, and they're trying to get that fixed.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the draft plenty on the show today, Coach. I want to step over to the New England Patriots. They're always in the news here, and for different reasons now. We know Tom Brady's gone at this point, and, well, the question is, what do they do at the quarterback position? Well, they signed Brian Hoyer to a one-year deal. He comes back over from the Colts. Brian Hoyer's had stints with the Patriots before, and it seems like we're getting to a point now, Coach, and listening to the people out there, Jarrett Stidham may really be the guy here. Now, teammate Devin McCourty has come out and said, listen, we know he's good. We know he has had to go against our defense every day, and he has shined even when we were at our best. Coach, when you look at a guy like Jarrett Stidham, I know we've talked about him plenty, but does this seem like the move maybe the Patriots are making right now, especially with what's out there in free agency? Could they be going toward Jarrett Stidham at a time like this?
Oh, yes, absolutely. In fact, this is very much, I think, like a typical Belichick move, and I think Stidham right now would be the choice. I think Brian Hoyer coming in probably magnifies that even more. So yes, and I think Stidham will do a good job for him.
It's going to be interesting to see what plays out there, but that's kind of the feeling we get. Coach, I want to talk about talking about quarterbacks here. Now, this is good news for the XFL. I know they lose a good quarterback here, but P.J. Walker is now signed with the Panthers. Now, it's obvious, Coach. We talked about this. You were the one also that mentioned, too, a quarterback in the XFL, it doesn't seem that he's going to go be a starter right now. Now, the time may be coming in a few years. We'll see how things play out. But for P.J. Walker, it's obvious he's going to be a backup. Teddy Bridgewater's there. He just signed with the Panthers. But for the XFL, and listen, for P.J. Walker, Coach, you watched him too, and hey, this kid was impressive. And this is a guy that wasn't even going to be invited to the league because nobody really knew except Oliver Luck's son, Andrew Luck, because Oliver was on our show, said, listen, Andrew said, hey, you got to pay attention to this guy, P.J. Walker. And then he took the league by storm. And not only that, had the undefeated Roughnecks 5-0, and led the league with 15 touchdowns and over 1,300 yards and only threw 4 interceptions. This is a kid that just looked so good, Coach. Do you think, when you talk about this, does it surprise you that P.J. Walker got picked up?
No, and certainly not a surprise that he went to Carolina. Keep in mind the head coach there coached him in college at Temple. So they know a lot about him. And I think it'll be a good shot for him to be a backup there, and he'll do a good job. I think it's a good job for Carolina. Good deal.
Coach, I want to talk about something that we haven't, I guess, talked about this. It seems since 1967, going back to the NFC South right now, they have something special with the Falcons. The Falcons, of all people, they're kind of the team that gets lost in all this here, picking up, listen, they traded for Hayden Hurst. They signed running back Todd Gurley. They also, people forget, they signed defensive end Dante Fowler, which it was a big contract coming off his best season in the NFL. This is a team, though, Coach, when you look at this, they have, right now, with what they have starting on offense, they have 10 first-rounders that would start on the offense. It hasn't been done since 1967. When you look at this, Matt Ryan, Todd Gurley, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Hayden Hurst, and then their whole entire offensive line, these guys were first-rounders. So when you look at Atlanta here, Coach, with the problems they've had, of course, I think it's been their defense. That's been their problem from the start. Is this a Falcons team with the pickups they've made? Now, the majority of the pickups obviously are on offense, but is this a team that you think can compete in the NFC South, which seems so tough right now?
Oh, I do. Since day one, I've liked Matt Ryan. I think he's a quality quarterback. He's in the upper echelon of quarterbacks. You're right. Offensively, they're loaded. They've got a lot of talent and a lot of depth there. So I think they're certainly going to be that. Listen, when you look at the Falcons, who we're talking about right now, and I think they picked up they will pick up a couple of defensive players. I think they'll draft only defense. Watch them in the draft, and there's a good defensive draft. So they'll draft heavily defense this year, and they'll get some players that are going to play. Fowler, I think, will help them some. I'm not sure his work ethic, but at any rate, he should help. I think he had Quinn as his college coach at Florida, so that may entice him to play a little better. But they'll get some good draft picks in here, and they're going to be a tough football team. But look at the South. You got New Orleans, good football team, a lot of talent, especially offensively. Hall of Fame quarterback. That's so important to have a Hall of Fame quarterback, a great quarterback on your football team, because it gives you a tremendous opportunity against anyone and a chance to go all the way. They have a representative to good defense is the way I look at their defense. Not a great defense, but a good, let's call it a good defense. Could get better. They're going to be a good football team, a very good football team. We know where they're going to move the ball, and we know they're going to score points. And now look at Tampa Bay. My goodness. And this is one subject we can take up, like for the audience to chime in, give us a call on what you think. What is the most improved football team this year so far in the free agency market and so on? Well, some people are going to say Miami's picked up a boatload. Atlanta. Some people say the Giants. I say Tampa Bay, because they may have picked up really a quarterback who still could be the most valuable player in the whole league, to go along with talent sitting there that they can appropriately utilize, and who will make their offensive line better and their defense better. So anyway, that's going to be a unique topic to get on to, as to who really has made themselves a better football team, and in particular in the South, the NFC South, I think, is just a great division.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And listen, like we said, 850-623-1330 is our studio hotline right now. Listen, call in. We want to know what your opinion is on this. We know we have plenty. Look, the NFC South, we are full of those fans right now down here. The one thing, Coach, is I think you're right. And listen, I think the sneaky team and all this, I don't think they're there. They're ready yet. But they could surprise some people as the Carolina Panthers. It's interesting to see how all the new management going on with Joe Brady is now with a guy he's familiar with in Teddy Bridgewater. They've got some good young receivers. They've gotten rid of some guys they needed to. And for guys like Cam Newton, well, it's the worst time to kind of be left into free agency, as Jameis Winston will tell you that much. And, Coach, that's my next question here. We're going to get into some college real quick in a minute, but the question that's popping up now is a guy like Jameis Winston. Where does he go now? Because you look at these teams, and the rumor is we're seeing that, the sports books, the few that are open, are saying that Cam is, well, it looks like he's possibly going to Washington. There's no guarantee. That's just if he goes somewhere, that's where he goes. And, Coach, for a guy like Jameis Winston here, though, he's kind of the odd man out, because, look, he threw a year. He had a year he threw over for 5,000 yards, which is amazing. But then you go and you throw for 30 touchdowns, cool. And then, oh, no, you threw for 30 interceptions. And that just cannot happen. A team can't put a guy out there like that is that turnover prone. And listen, Coach, for a guy like Jameis Winston, though, is his best bet, because in my opinion, I think his best bet is to stay in Tampa, and if anything, try to learn from Tom Brady for a year or two and see how this plays out, and then he'll be a better quarterback for that. I don't know if it's going to happen. That's just my opinion, Coach. What say you?
Well, I agree with what you're saying to a certain extent, but here's where the problem comes. Yes, for him, there's not a starting position in the National Football League, so he's going to have to go somewhere as a backup, which he really needs to do at this point. There are certain people that say Pittsburgh is the ideal location. There he could sit behind Roethlisberger and learn quite a bit, and Roethlisberger's not going to play that much longer, and so on. So that may be a good destination for him. Your point that at Tampa, if he just stayed there and learned under Brady, But now keep in mind, here's what you got to face as a coaching staff. That could present a problem. Could present a problem in the locker room. He's been with those guys for 4 or 5 years, whatever it is now, and he has friends on that football team. You're bringing in Tom Brady. Do you want to chance any possible dissension or talk going on around that football team other than total dedication to what you're doing? And no. And could it, what's the best way to ensure that doesn't happen? It's to make sure that you clean the table and bring him in, especially the quarterback position. Now, the other thing you got to be concerned about, he's had some off-field problems, which we all know, both in college and while he's been in pro football. Does that present another problem for a guy who's not going to be starting now? He's going to be a backup. Does that immediately give him a better chance to do some things that maybe you wouldn't want done as a football team? So for that reason, no, I think it's better to get him out of there. But he should go somewhere and try to learn under another quarterback. And I do think Pittsburgh would be a good situation for him.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh would be a great one. That's actually one that, Coach, that sounds really good for him. Now, the point of all this is at this point, Jameis has to kind of understand that he's going to be a backup no matter where he goes. But here's the thing is, you're right, Coach. Listen, that's something I didn't really think about. The off-the-field problems he's had, not only that, he has been in that locker room 4 to 5 years with those guys, those same guys there he's grown up with. And it's different for a guy that's been a starter to now step back. And then how does he take that and all this? It's going to be interesting to see regardless. But I do agree with you. I think for him, it would be better for him to have a fresh start somewhere else, even though, well, he probably won't be starting. Listen, Coach, we're up against a break right now. When we come back, we're going to break down. Since all this free agency going on, where does this affect the draft here? Where do guys go in this time? Well, all that and more is coming back here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
First Take, your take. with Jason Fitz.
Remember, it's not that long ago the 76ers over-exceeded expectations in the playoffs, right? So suddenly it became they are the future and the future is now. Trust the process became this thing that works. Now they've hit a wall. And it's staggering to me to hear Embiid talk about he doesn't know if he's getting the ball. And Horford to say, we've got issues in the locker room, but we'll keep that private. Guess what? You just made them public.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
His football career started as a quarterback at Pensacola High. It culminated as the coach of the Buffalo Bills. Now, Coach K. Stevenson talks football every day at noon on Talk Football with Coach K.
Kareem Hunt got pulled over last week for speeding.
This guy's been in trouble over and over and over again. Now, if they get him out of this, he will get in trouble again.
Noon to 1, weekdays on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach K. Stevenson. Here on this Monday afternoon talking some football with you. Hope everybody is safe out there, and we appreciate you guys joining us. Remember, our studio line is 850-623-1330. Coach, I want to get into some, the draft here. With all the free agency noise going on right now, this, of course, affects, the draft coming up in April. And, the NFL has announced that it seems they're going to like a studio setting. Which would kind of, Coach, you're the one that said, listen, it's not going to happen. You know, what the draft being in Vegas and everything like that, they're going to go to something similar to a studio setting. You had said that before. That's what they're going to do, and it makes more sense in a time like this. We can always go back to Vegas, but right now that's not important. Getting through this is important, and something like the NFL draft, like you said before, Coach, you used to do this, and you get a phone call. We had Hazlitt on here that said he found out he got drafted, and he just got a phone call that said you're going to the Bills. So it's times have changed.
Oh, yeah. Well, the times have changed since then, that's for sure. But there's no doubt that they can do this electronically, and this, of all things, should be a fairly simple process to do electronically. So that's not a big deal.
Coach, when we look at this now, of course, going through some of the first-round picks here, Joe Burrow, my question to you is all the rumors of Miami possibly trading up. Coach, I ask you this. Do you think that Joe Burrow is going to Cincinnati? Do you think Cincinnati is going to give that first pick up at all?
It could happen. And when I talk to, there are 2 or 3 different people that I talk to that say Cincinnati would love to have the draft picks they could get if they could hold somebody up there. And they feel that I have some doubts about this, but they still feel they could get one of the 2 quarterbacks. For example, if they traded with Miami, and let's play that scenario out. Say Miami gave them 2 1s and a 2 in exchange for that number 1 pick. And Miami went up and took Joe Burrow. I think Burrow would still be the number 1 pick. Then could Cincinnati get Tua at 5? Well, I'll tell you this without any question. I think Washington takes the pass rusher Young from Ohio State. And then number 3, here's the problem. Detroit is in the perfect position for a trade, and that's the only thing they're playing right now is for a trade. That's they know they're going to get a heck of a deal there, and somebody can move up in there, and whoever will pay the highest price can move up there and get ahead of that number 5 pick then, which would be Cincinnati, and maybe they come up and take Tua. And now Cincinnati doesn't get either one of the top 2. So anyway, I really think that could be the scenario. Now, surely they have to be smart enough to know that that could happen. So they may have to turn around and trade back down with Detroit But Detroit is, look at the situation they're sitting in. Somebody, to get one of those two quarterbacks, you're going to have to make a heck of a deal with Detroit. I think that's just the key right now. That's the gate to the whole draft. So they're going to get a heck of a deal from somebody.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. And Coach, when I see that for Cincinnati, they got a lot of rebuilding problems. But once again, we've said this before. Miami has all the picks in the world right now. They are sitting pretty, and they've done a good job this offseason, by the way, too. Miami's that sneaky team that has picked up a lot of good free agents. So this is a team, especially with how is New England going to change? How's that offense going to be without Tom Brady? Are they going to get, if Jared Stidham is the guy, are they going to get him help? This is a Miami team that could move up a lot faster than what we think, and with all the draft picks too. And you talk about adding Joe Burrow to that roster, that would be interesting. And Coach, right now the mock drafts that I'm looking at do have Chase Young going to Washington, which we kind of felt that was going to be the case anyway. Right now,
let me interrupt you here, because this brings up another scenario that you were talking about earlier. If Washington is going to take Young, they're not gonna take bring in Cam Newton there either. I don't think, because here's why. If they do, they're going to sabotage the quarterback situation that they have now. He'll completely dominate the quarterback room, and he will be the quarterback. Now, what that does to the guy they have there, and what relationship that has to do with Snyder, I think is real important. My gut feel is that he's had Cam Newton for a number of years, and I don't think he'll bring him in. But go ahead with your you were going through the draft there, and I interrupted.
Oh no, that's Coach, that's interesting just because you're right. I mean, the whole point of them not taking a quarterback in this draft was because of Dwayne Haskins, because they got this guy. This was their number one. They believed in him. They want to move forward with him. So bringing in Cam Newton, well, that Shanghai's everything on that. Coach, talking about the Detroit Lions here, I know that you've talked about this before, and I've actually, I've read a lot more articles and listened to people talk about this. Jeff Okudah at number 3, I think you're right. I think, listen, Detroit is in the position now that they're in the trading block. They are willing to trade that number 3 pick to get a couple more guys because, Coach, you've said it, Jeff Okudah and a cornerback is a position you feel that you can go elsewhere to get it. You don't have to draft a cornerback that high. I mean, is that still the case here?
Yeah, I do personally, and I have to admit that. But I do think that it's become more important now over the years because of the inclusion of certain colleges that used to be down in the draft, and people could get good defensive backs out of there. That's not the case anymore. So I think that it has become more important, but I still don't think that it is the most important position. Oddly enough, there is a service called Pro Football. Well, I can't think of the whole name of it right now, but anyways, PFF, and they rate quarterbacks as one of the most needed positions on the football team. Now, I can't see that, but at any rate, back to what they're going to do. Okua, the guy that they're talking about there with Detroit, that people have on the list, is they'd really be laughed at by some other teams. He's really a 4.6 guy, 4.5, 4.6 quarter. You can't play with a quarter now. Times have gone up so fast that you can't play with a quarter at that speed. JP, you got to have a quarter. In fact, at 4.6 now is linebacker speed. Okay, but at the corner, they're going to get run by. They're going to have too many run bys at that speed. But I think that's all a smoke screen anyway, and I think they pulled a couple of other smoke screens that talking about the quarterbacks and looking at them and so on. They're not going to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's important there, Coach. And you're right. Listen, Jeff Okudah's a guy that's not the fastest, not the fleet of foot here. He is 6'1", 205, but with the speed that now that's in the NFL, and they will target you. Coach, you know that as well. They've always targeted guys like that. And I think you're right. Look, even linebackers, 4.6 has kind of looked like, well, that's average. I mean, you look at a guy like Isaiah Simmons who ran a 4.39, and that's a guy that's kind of a hybrid linebacker, safety position type guy. Coach, I want to move on here for the New York Giants. This is a smart move. I think this is a no-brainer here. Depending on how the picks go, they could trade as well. Anybody, is up for a trade. But, they're wanting to get Daniel Jones some protection up there on that offensive line. And Jedrick Wills Jr., the offensive lineman out of Alabama, 6'4", 312, seems to be their pick at number 4. For a team like New York, Coach, it's a team that's getting better. Of course, Joe Judge is there now. But Daniel Jones is the quarterback. I like Daniel Jones. I mean, I don't know if he's the guy yet. I think that still remains to be seen. But with them getting help here, I think that, for the Giants, they're buying in. They've got some good offensive guys there. The defense needs a little help. But that offensive line, they've got to be able to draft guys like Jedrick Wills Jr.
Yeah, I think it's a good draft pick, and I don't have much doubt about the quarterback situation there. I think, I like the kid. I think he's going to be a good one. So, but they got to get that offensive line up to par, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. There's some good tackles. So yeah, get a tackle in there that can protect your quarterback, and that'll be a big plus for New York.
Coach, moving along here. Now, number 5, they have Miami taking Tua. We talked about this last week. It's interesting for Miami just because they couldn't get him in to work out. But there's other ways around that. But the things have got to happen quick because we're a month away from the draft now. Coach, do you still see Miami going after Tua, even if they trade up, depending on how this goes? If they trade up number 1, we obviously think they're going to take Joe Burrow. But even if they trade up maybe to number 3, is Tua – how do we feel the Miami feels right now about Tua? Because I'm reading articles that say, well, they're weary, and they're even willing to maybe trade back just a little bit to get Justin Herbert. That way they can get a little bit more. Coach, what's your feeling on this Miami situation with Tua?
Just reading the tea leaves, and what I'm hearing is that what they want to do is they want to trade up to number 1 and get Joe Burrow. Okay. They like Tua, but if you'll remember, that's the same medical staff that turned down Drew Brees. When Drew Brees was going to go to Miami a few years ago, and the medical staff X'd him out because of his shoulder injury, saying he couldn't do it, and of course, then he goes on to New Orleans, and you know what's happened since. So my guess is that they're a little concerned about the injury, JP. And I told you out of 32 teams in the league, I would bet the 16 teams, their medical staff would have a problem with him going there. But he's such a good quarterback, such a good quarterback prospect. I think some people are gonna, if they get an okay, at least tacit okay for their medical staff, they're going to take him because he is going to be a heck of a quarterback in the league.
Coach, I agree with you there. I think that's interesting there. You remind people that this is the same one that denied Drew Brees, so they're weary, and for Tua, rightfully so, just because of the injuries he's had before. And this is an injury, remember, that you get when you get in a car wreck. We all hope Tua comes back strong and plays in the NFL for 10 or 15 years. But when you take a guy in the first round like that, you better be sure. Coach, I want to talk about the not San Diego Chargers. I apologize. Los Angeles Chargers. Still can't get over that. Justin Herbert is their guy in this mock draft. Now, I think Justin Herbert is their guy. Anyway, I know Todd McShay believes Jordan Love is possibly their guy here. But when you look at a guy like Justin Herbert, 6'6", 236, big kid, he's mobile enough. Got a strong arm, got some football IQ there. Coach, we even heard, from NFL executives a couple weeks ago when we were talking about this, that Herbert, even though he had some decision-making problems, they never felt he was in the right offense at Oregon. So if you put him in a pro-style offense, he is going to just shine. Coach, how do you feel about Justin Herbert going to the Chargers? Because, listen, they've already said we're not going to sign a veteran quarterback. We're going to stick with Tyrod Taylor right now and then go after a quarterback in the draft.
Yeah, I think that could very certainly could be the truth. And I hear that I hear a lot about Justin Herbert too. So, and that position, they want a quarterback, you know that. And there's some people, some talk about maybe Jameis Winston going out there, and that could be a possibility. I kind of doubt it though. But no, Justin Herbert would be, if they don't have a quarterback by that time, then I certainly see that Justin Herbert being the quarterback there. Yeah.
Coach, I want to move on to some of these other quarterbacks as well. Listen, Jordan Love, the guy we just mentioned, the fit that they seem to have him in right now is getting drafted by the Green Bay Packers, and they said that would be a great fit to be behind Aaron Rodgers. And, Rodgers still got some years, but it's a way for Jordan Love to get implemented in the system. They don't see him as a day-one starter anyway right now. He's got a lot of things to learn and grow from. Coach, when you look at Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers actually seems like a pretty good fit for him.
Well, yeah, he wouldn't be a fit anywhere for me in the first round with any team. But that could, I guess that could happen. Somebody's going to take him because they've pumped him up now, especially McShay. They should put an asterisk by McShay's name with him and how he turns out. But I don't know. It's hard for me to say. Packers might not be a bad place for him, but I would be cautious with him.
Coach, a guy that I know you're big on here. You like the intangibles this guy has. Of course, he has some growing to do as well. But Jacob Eason, the kid out of Washington, of course, transferred out of Georgia. They feel right now that Tampa could go get him in maybe second or third round. Coach, when you see a guy like Jacob Eason, this seems like a just perfect fit to bring in a guy that's got a big arm like that to come in behind Tom Brady, learn a few years, get your feet wet. What do you think, Jacob Eason to the Bucs, Coach?
I think he'll go earlier than I think he'll go in the first round. Very well could go in the first round. He's good. He's a good player, good prospect. So if he's there in the second and third round, he's going to be a great value pick for any team in that round if he's still there. But I don't know that Tampa wants to draft another quarterback right now. Certainly not high. That may not fit well with Brady coming in. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll have to see what happens there, what they're going to do. I think they may be fine. To me, what they should do is get one of the journeyman quarterbacks down there behind Brady, at least for the first year. Then if they have a young kid coming along, maybe you draft a kid a little later than that, and have him coming along as your third guy. But I wouldn't put any pressure on a young kid up there being a high-round draft pick.
Coach, the last guy we'll talk about before we go to break here, Jake Fromm. Now, this is a guy, of course, me and you both love this guy. He's a winner. He is a great guy in the locker room. He's got some intangibles here. Of course, for the naysayers out there, he doesn't have the arm strength. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out because this is a guy that they said before, even the NFL executives, scouts, and things like that have said this is a guy that will play in the league 10 to 15 years, even if he's a backup, because he will not allow himself to fail or get put out of the league. Just that's his work ethic, and there's a lot to be said with a guy like that who has some athleticism. Coach, right now, the fits for him are the New Orleans Saints and the New England Patriots right now. Both of those seem good fits in the stage they're in now.
Oh yeah, I think he's a natural for New England or New Orleans would be good for him. There are any number of teams that would be lucky to have this kid. I'm telling you, because he's going to end up playing. I think he's going to end up being a starter in the league, and will play a long time. He's a winner. That's all you can really say about the kid is he's a great competitor and a winner.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Coach, we're up against a break right now. When we come back, we're going to be talking about, well, I know Ohio State gets a running back they need after Master Teague goes down early in the spring. And we're going to be talking some more SEC football with you here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? This is your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
Hey, this is Chad Brillante from the Afternoon Sports Drive, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson on this Monday afternoon. Hope everybody's safe out there in the time right now. Listen, we're in here talking some football with you, okay? Give you a little break of whatever's going on, whether you're at work or wherever. Like we said, be safe, wash your hands, and listen, we're all in this together. Remember that. Coach, I want to talk about some college news here. Look, this is interesting. We haven't heard – we talked last week about, well – how was the transfer situation going to happen, with all this stuff going on? Well, Trey Sermon, the running back from Oklahoma, has transferred to Ohio State. Now, this comes after, remember, Ohio State's big recruit come in, and Master Teague, suffered an Achilles injury, and he'll be out for this year. Coach, when you look at this is a kid that rushed for over 2,000 yards, over 22 touchdowns in his time there at Oklahoma. Of course, he had a leg injury sustained during the Iowa State game last November. They kind of ended his season only after 8 games. But when you look at Ohio State, this is a team that we're expecting is going to revamp again. They have a lot of guys coming back. Of course, they're losing guys like Chase Young on that defense, but Justin Fields and the crew will be back, and it's going to be interesting to see how they play in the Big Ten. But when you look at a guy like Sermon, this is a good pickup for Ohio State. Is it, Coach?
Oh yeah, yeah, it is a very good pickup for Ohio State. He's a good back, quality back, and I project that he'll be 1,000-yard rusher for Ohio State. I think it's a great opportunity for him.
Coach, I want to talk about something. Of course, here it's SEC country. Now, we have plenty of Florida State fans as well. But when we talk about the SEC, Coach, I want to talk about the SEC East. We'll get to the SEC West later this week. But this is an interesting year because, look, a team like Florida, it seems like Kyle Trask, they finally have their quarterback. When you look at Georgia, well, they have another fantastic offseason, and they've, made some coaching staff changes. But nonetheless, Coach, my question here is, look, we know that the SEC East consists of Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Missouri, Kentucky, Vandy, and South Carolina. Is it Georgia's to lose, or is the time now for Florida? Like I said, the quarterback situation wrapped up. They have so much depth at wide receiver, along with another year of defensive guru Todd Grantham at the helm, which I don't think gets enough credit. But, look, this is a team for Florida. I think that they need to strike now, Coach, and I think this could possibly be their year.
Well, you got to look at a number of things right now. Georgia is going to be good. They've got a lot of talent, but here's what I see at Georgia, which I think is very, very tough to overcome. They're going to lose 4 of their 5 offensive linemen, and they're losing a winning quarterback. That's tough. When you lose that much of the offensive line and your quarterback, you've got an awful lot to overcome. In fact, I don't know how you go about overcoming all that. They say they got this kid there that transferred in from
Wake Forest.
Wake Forest, yeah, Jeremy. But if he's as good as the quarterback they just lost, I'll be surprised. And college kids, you replace 4 out of 5 offensive linemen with all the stunts and dogs and blitzes they could see, especially in the Southeastern Conference. Tough. Now, maybe they've got enough talent they can overcome that because in some of the early polls, they're rated number 2 in the country. I don't believe that, but they are rated number 2. So, I think, it's a heck of a time for Florida to come on and win the SEC East, because I think it's going to be tough for Georgia.
Yeah, Coach, when you look at this, too, Dan Mullen's done such a good job getting those guys. He's almost, everybody knows him as the quarterback whisperer, what he's done with Dak Prescott and other guys here. Coach, turning over to the SEC West, this is going to be quite a year. And it's interesting because we have so many new faces over here. Now, guys like, Nick Saban, we assume Alabama is going to be Alabama again. It seems that they've revamped. But guys like Ed Orgeron, coming off a national championship where they had that magical season, the team of destiny is what I call them. They've had more changes than anybody probably in college football in general, but that happens whenever you win like that. You go win a national championship. Look, Saban can tell you that happens. It seems like every other year he's losing guys. You still have teams like Auburn. We forget about. They're always kind of sneaky good, but they lost almost their entire defensive line. Bo Nix comes back. Everybody feels that Bo Nix is the guy there. I'm not completely sold. I like Bo Nix, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how he comes back that sophomore year. For Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M, you've said it before, Coach, this is a team that you better watch out for because they're continuously getting better, and they're winning the state of Texas. That's the important part in this. And then you look at Mississippi State. Mike Leach comes over there, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, and then Sam Pittman at Arkansas. This is a completely new SEC West, Coach, but when you look at this, is Alabama still the top dog?
Yeah, I think Alabama's the top dog, and this is just going to be too hard to overcome. Here's what you have to overcome to beat Alabama. Number one, you've got to overcome the coaching and the organization and what that is in place and the machine. I call it a machine that's in place in Alabama. It's just going to be tough to overcome that. Now, included in that is a talent base that gives them a unique talent in the way of starters to begin with, and depth. Their depth, their second and third kids are better than some of the other teams' number ones. So that's just tough to overcome. It's very tough to overcome. Alabama would be one. I think LSU, and I give Orgeron a ton of credit for what he did last year. I think it was just outstanding. But I do think they lose too many people this year. My goodness, at the people they lose, and try to compete in the SEC West after having lost all that many people, and certainly your quarterback. But I think it's going to be awfully tough for them. We'll see what our two new guys do in Mississippi. They'll probably do a better job. Both will be a little better. I think both teams are a little better. And like we've said, like you just mentioned, look out for Texas A&M, because they have a tremendous formula out there for success. But I think they're still a year away. But look out for them next year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Coach. Listen, we're up against a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about Phillip Rivers and the Colts, and we're going to have some more free agency news that's continuously popping up here, as well as some college news for you. All that and more right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
First Take, Your Take, with Jason Fitz.
Remember, it's not that long ago the 76ers over-exceeded expectations in the playoffs, right? So suddenly it became they are the future, and the future is now. Trust the process became this thing that works. Now they've hit a wall. And it's staggering to me to hear Embiid talk about he doesn't know if he's getting the ball. And Horford to say, we've got issues in the locker room, but we'll keep that private. Guess what? You just made them public.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
For your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Stats, I'm JP. Among Ted Williams' many records, he set a student gunnery record as a World War II pilot. The test emphasized reflexes, coordination, and visual reaction time and still stood as of 2002. There have been 3 Olympic Games held in countries that no longer exist. Only 72 players in NBA history have attempted more free throws in their careers than the over 5,300 Shaquille O'Neal missed. Sorry, Big Diesel. These are your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Stats. I'm JP.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
The greatest name in sports radio is ESPN. Wherever you have Alexa, you can hear ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Just say,
Alexa, enable ESPN Pensacola 1330 skill.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
Credit a great performance by Garoppolo. And I love the way he throws the football. He's got all the things going for him.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
the teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL coach Kay Stevenson. And this Monday afternoon, we hope everybody's safe out there. We're talking some football with you. Coach, listen, I want to get into Phillip Rivers. This is something it's interesting here because, I'm a Tennessee Titans fan. I love them. Even in the time it's been really hard, of course, last year. A great year. We had the opportunity to potentially go after Tom Brady. Didn't work out. Nonetheless, I am still a Tennessee Titan fan. The interesting fact here, though, is, look, Phillip Rivers going to the Colts, Coach, this is a bigger deal than what people believe. And look, he's reuniting with 3 of his former coaches. You know that they're on the same page. He trusts those guys. He knows those guys. There was a little animosity over with the Chargers here that you kind of almost saw, the frustration that built up for him. This is not a guy, of course, that's at his peak now, but this is a guy I believe, Coach, and I believe you think the same way. Is this a guy that can go out and win some ball games? Coach, does this make them the favorites in the conference or in the division there? And the reason I say this is, look, they went out and got DeForest Buckner to help shore up that defensive line. They shored up the offensive tackle, offensive lineman Anthony Costanzo and LaRaven Clark, and then, of course, signing Phillip Rivers there. This is a team that already has 3 good young backs. They have some guys at wide receiver when you're talking about T.Y. Hilton, and they haven't even released Paris Campbell yet, the speedster that we don't even know what's going to happen with that guy. They have one of the best offensive lines in football, period. I mean, there's no question with that. And then a defense that's young enough, that's good. They've been good for some years now. Do we put them as the favorite in the division there over the Tennessee Titans?
Well, you described a pretty good football team there, and you're right. That's exactly the way I would describe the Indianapolis Colts right now. I think they're going to be. I think Phillip Rivers going to Indianapolis is going to be a real bonanza for him. They're going to be, listen, this guy's a winner, and I think he's got another year or 2 left. He may have lost something. He's never had a great arm. In fact, he doesn't throw the football. He pushes it anyway. But he's a great quarterback, and I think he'll be good. Think about this division now. This is going to be a pretty tight division because I think Tennessee, if we had to put right now a best chance to win the division, you'd almost have to put Tennessee as the favorite, Indianapolis coming in second.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because Tennessee brings back a lot of the squad, of course, to see how they do in the draft as well. Tannehill, I think getting Tom Brady would have been awesome, but Tannehill's not bad either. This is a guy that we forget what he did last year. And I think with that offensive line, I know Conklin's gone now, but they've got some good young offensive linemen. I think that we'll see how they go in the draft as well. A.J. Brown at receiver. Of course, Mike Vrabel knows how to win. He came from that Patriots organization. He's instilled a lot of that there. And we forget Derrick Henry, the bulldozer there at running back. As long as they have him, I believe they have a chance there. And, Coach, when you look at this, the Colts, you're right. This is going to be an interesting division last year because we forget with the Colts, we kind of scoff at it. And listen, Jacoby Brissett did a good job for what he was asked to do, but Jacoby Brissett was not the guy. And this is where I think the Colts last year, if you have Andrew Luck, this could have been a different division because Jacoby Brissett cannot open it up down the field like a guy like Andrew Luck can, or even Phillip Rivers. And with the IQ that he has there, this is going to be interesting, and that's the difference there. And when you talk about the Texans, DeAndre Hopkins being gone, we're not sure what they're going to be right now. They'll still be good. They'll still be viable. But right now, you've got to say that the Colts and the Titans, they're pretty close. But I go back to that with the Colts, Coach. People forget that Jacoby Brissett was the quarterback there, and it's not the same. With Phillip Rivers, this is going to be a different Colts offense.
Yes, it is. It certainly is, without any question. They're going to move the ball consistently, and they're going to put points on the board. Now, you're right, too. If they had Andrew Luck there, that would have been a different outcome as well. But to answer your question, and I don't think there's any doubt that Rivers is going to make a big difference in the whole division. But Tennessee is a strong football team all the way around. They've got as good a depth overall when you talk about defense, offense, special teams. They got that great running game. Their quarterback has played awfully well. Offensive line, I understand, is good, very good. Will get a little better. They're not really concerned about Conklin. I understand that they lost him. In fact, they may have even improved there. So that's not going to be a biggie. But two good teams there, and should be an interesting race as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Coach, as usual, we got plenty to talk about, but we run out of time here. Coach, it's been a pleasure, my friend.
Always good to be with you, JP.
Absolutely. Remember, everybody, we will be back tomorrow, same time at 12. You're not going to miss it. Talk football with Coach K at ESPN Pensacola.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports